Hey, what's up? Welcome to another live discussion. I asked some of my people to come in, and I think this video will be perfect for any sports fans. I really wanted to talk about it. Deion Sanders leaving Jackson State University and going over to Colorado, like literally moments just from winning the SWAC title championship game. So I would love to get everyone's thoughts on this because I think this is a story that's beyond football. I think it's bigger than sports. So HBCUs are near and dear to my heart. And so I think the reaction that everyone's having is normal. I am seeing some mixed reactions, but I would just love to get everyone's thoughts. So, oh geez, I don't know how someone's joining, but yeah, I don't want any guests. But if you do want to be a guest, just chime in, let me know. I think it's kind of automatic. I think it's just like inviting everybody in. So if you do want to comment, make sure you comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Deion Sanders, after 3 seasons, is leaving Jackson State University. After all that preaching about HBCUs and the importance of choosing historic universities that our ancestors built as freedmen after the Emancipation Proclamation. So I think it's a slap in the face. I'll give my opinion. And I'd love for you all to comment below. Make sure you like the video, share the video, ping some people in, because this is such a larger story here. It's a much larger play. And I really like that reference in the movie Wakanda Forever, the latest Black Panther, when they said, well, what should we do? And the first thing they said is destabilize Wakanda or destabilize whatever, that new nation. So I think that's covert. Oh gosh, I don't want any guests. I don't know. Facebook is doing its own thing. So if you want to be a guest and you want to chime in, make sure you comment, let me know, and I can always bring you on. But you guys are awesome for tuning in. Sports fans, let me know what you think. Some people were like, oh yeah, it's about the money. It's totally okay. It's totally fine. And that's just like, to me, is let me know that you can kind of do whatever you want to our communities. You don't have to show loyalty. Betrayal is what it is. It's the name of the game. As long as you're making money, it's totally okay. So then why do we get so hung up and caught up about slavery then? Why shouldn't we just say, well, it was money, Slavery was just about economy and building the United States. Hey, Celine, how are you? Thank you for chiming in. What do you think about Deion Sanders? He is already, it was like, I don't even think they finished cleaning up the stadium yet. He was already on the jet to Colorado. And so someone's been, talking about this, and I've been reading her comments. She got some really, poignant points. But someone said, this is like me saying, come to the inner city, help us build a new Black Wall Street. And then once everybody moves in, you go to the suburbs. And it's kind of like, do as I say and not as I do. And I thought we were all about leading by examples. So there's a lot of other dangerous works at play here. And so I kind of am now, in hindsight, it's 2020, of course, I'm starting to think maybe they just dangled that. Maybe Deion is using HBCUs as a pawn because he was never going to get a head coaching job. If Deion would have never gone to Jackson State, he would have never gotten that offer from Colorado. So it's like the Black communities where you practice. And I'll let you know a little bit of insight from the world of entertainment. The Black community, this is how they see the Black community. You're a stepping stone. You are a foundation. Black talent have to build a fan base first before they can go over to mainstream. So Black celebrities, athletes, rappers, musicians, actors and actresses, all these different talent players, they have to show that they have a fan base within their own community before mainstream dollars open up. So I think the NFL, eventually will hire Black coaches, but I'm starting to think, no, they won't. Jerry Jones, that's a whole thing. And I just said that, I think last week, there's an interesting juxtaposition with Jerry Jones and then this Deion Sanders and all that. So I feel like this is Deion waving his side piece at the main chick that he really wants. And he's using the HBCUs as well, if you don't want me, I'll just go over to the Black community. So the Black community is excited, right? We're getting on College game day. We're getting recognition. Donation dollars are going up. the stadium is, you know, doing what it's doing, selling seats and, you know, tickets and popcorn and merchandise and parking, all these things that help build a community. So for me, sports is not just entertainment. It is a form of entertainment, but it's business and it's politics. Because when you're building stadiums, most times they're putting those stadiums in certain neighborhoods, okay? So it's just so much. Deion Sanders is so much deeper. You know, Deion Sanders has been a part of my life in terms of like publicity and being put in my face and thrown in my face for more than 2 decades now. I was actually living in Dallas, Texas, when he was playing for the Cowboys. And I think they went to the Super Bowl, like his first or second season. And I remember all the cool endorsement deals. So Deion is a staple in our community. But this is what they do. Okay? So now that he's building up HBCUs, oh my God, I love your comments. Oh my God, I love your comments. But they will take somebody that's influential, and they can't kill everybody anymore. Like that's just COINTELPRO had its day with Fred Hampton and MLK and Malcolm X. They can't just kill us anymore, because then that makes them a martyr, and then we just get angry, and they don't need that. So what it is now they're plucking prominent people out of our communities. And I'm gonna be honest, Deion Sanders, you're giving me a little bit of daddy issues, you know, and I feel really, really bad for those players, because I was thinking about this last week. Remember Bobby Knight? You know, you hear a lot of black males that go into these college programs, but I ain't had no daddy. So coach has always been like a father to me. Coach has always been like a father figure. So Bobby Knight was a father figure. Was it his abusiveness? Like, can you imagine right now, you know, allowing Bobby Knight to throw chairs at your children at a basketball program or a football program, a Bobby Knight type? So I could imagine a lot of those black males that maybe they don't have a good male role model or a father figure in their life. They do. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I didn't create this system and this condition, but they absolutely looked at their coaches as a father figure. I want to get some of y'all's comments. Yes, thank you guys. Somebody said, did he make a statement about the contract that was found on about the student that was found in a truck on campus? I don't think so. And that is, whoa, what happened there? Is that student okay? HBCUs matter. Donate to HBCUs. Y'all, these are institutions that our ancestors created after slavery. The Atlanta University Center Consortium, that was created by freedmen. Okay? HBCUs were institutions that we created. And yes, some HBCUs have white founders, because at the same time, you have to raise money to build these institutions. So you can't actually expect newly emancipated, enslaved peoples to then all of a sudden have the funds. So yeah, we worked for so many years, unpaid labor. You gonna put in on something, that's a form of restitution and retribution. So yeah, that argument about Howard and Spelman having white presidents and founders, that's null and void. Okay, any president of any institution, educational institution, has to raise money. So that's not a valid argument, but that's exactly what I feel. He had to put on a show to get acknowledgement from his white zany, and that's begging the question: Is this what it's all about? It's just like trying to get attention of white men, colonizers, foreign invaders, troglodytes, Homo Neanderthals, whatever you want to call them. Is that what? Are we just a stepping stone? And, you know, I don't want to get into my Cynthia G, because I'm obsessed with Cynthia G, but this is the black male psychology, pathology, okay? They just want white proximity. They don't care about building the next Black Wall Street. They don't care about creating businesses that trickle and flow money into other Black vendors and businesses and suppliers, and they don't care about diversity, equity, inclusion. He did all that so he can get the attention of the NFL, because they're saying, oh, wait a minute. I mean, my sorority sister, former president of Alpha Kappa Alpha, but current Tennessee State University president, Dr. Glenda Glover, testified in front of the committee at the House and Senate. So she's testifying about the importance of HBCUs. And this man was really confused. Like one of the representatives in the committee was like, how did HBCU attendance just shoot up? Like, maybe because the youth were inspired by Black Lives Matter and all the racial injustices, and saying, hey, I want my scholarship funds to go to a HBCU. Maybe they're finding a newfound solidarity with this community. And he was just, I don't understand. He was like, I don't understand how your recruitment go up. Like, they're really upset that HBCUs are getting love and praise and the NBA is doing all these things. But it's kind of like we're going to install these token Negroes because come on. Everybody know, gotta be like prime time, gotta be smiling, happy, flashy nigga, Deion Sanders. We know he's always been a puppet. And I was really surprised that he went to the HBCU, and I'm like, oh, black men finally get it. Take your talents to HBCUs because you're never going to be a head coach at an NFL position. All right? Jerry Jones, come on. That is what the NFL is all about. Think about that photo. Against the Little Rock Nine? Like, really? Jerry Jones, you were a part of that angry mob? So, yeah, to have an expectation that the same people that didn't even want you to get an education, now they all of a sudden care about you going to NCAA, college sports, college football, college basketball. But they didn't even want you to go to school. And that was high school. The Little Rock Nine, they didn't even want you to have a fine quality education. Man, this is so deep and it's so nuanced. Any other comments? I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. I want to hear what you have to say. Oh, I got some hearts. Thank you. Some stars. You guys are great. Keep liking the video. You guys are awesome. So what's happening here? Black men are not getting head coach positions, okay? And when they do, their name is Umaje Udokato at the Boston Celtics. So Black American men, you're not getting on at these universities. But Deion Sanders, he was very strategic. I'm going to dangle my side piece, which is the HBCU. I'm going to dangle it in their face. Oh, look at me. I'm so happy at HBCUs. I'm helping to build the Black community. And you know white supremacists don't like that. Oh, they can't have that. Oh, look at me. I'm with my the side piece. And then the main that you want, and y'all been flirting, all of a sudden they're paying attention. They're like, oh, let's destabilize that. Not anymore. Colorado. Let's think about this here. So you're never going to get on at Alabama, Coach Sanders. You were never going to get on at a Bingham or a Cal, a USC, or even a USC Gamecock. You were never going to get on at any of these. You're not going to get on at Texas. You're not going to get on at Mizzou. You're not going to get on at Michigan. But all of a sudden they see, damn, Deion is promoting his own nation, his own indigenous people of color. He's even promoting freedmen's institutions created by emancipated slaves, former slaves, even a little bit of Black wealth, people of color that maintain wealth throughout freedom and Reconstruction. Oh, wait a minute. We can't have that. And so I don't know if y'all really know, but all these pipeline systems are connected. The NFL, you can't tell me they didn't call up all the NCAA D1 schools. Is anybody looking for a new head coach? Because we got to get that nigga out of there. Deion would have never gotten a job. He wouldn't even got an assistant coordinator position. He wouldn't have got an offensive coordinator, defensive. He would have never. So not only that, it's about the inspiration in which Coach Deion Sanders was bringing in to this idea and this concept that we can build our own universities, we can build our own systems. That's money flowing into homecomings, classics, other rival games, the SWAC. What was the guy's name back in the day? Was it Eddie Robinson? What was the brother that was at Grambling? Oh God, he used to be such my role model, and I just totally forgot. But I'm gonna say his name, Eddie Robinson, and if that's not his name, but he was at Grambling. So there was a former NFL player that had this idea, like, I can go back to HBCUs and be a head coach. So if y'all think about it, there's a lot of Black men that are out of work, coming out of the NFL, didn't get, brought on to another team, and they are out of work. So why wouldn't they just take their talents to an HBCU? Ding, 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 ding. Here comes Deion. Bright idea. So thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you all. But I think this is strategic, and it's so obvious. But people are saying, well, it's about the money. And I'm like, it's always been about the money. That's why African kings sold their own sons into slavery. Hello. Does anybody forget that story? Selling their own sons. Can you imagine? This is your boy. your pride and joy. Okay, maybe you don't even have sons. African kings sold their own mothers into the transatlantic slave trade. So it's always been about the money. We know, but does that make it right? Does that justify vile behavior? So that's why I think the term buck broken is more appropriate for the situation. Buck broke, they will break it, bend it over, bust it wide open for a buck. A buck is not a male, okay? A buck is a dollar in this case, okay? A buck is an animal. So why would you ever refer to another black man as an animal, a deer or an elk? That's buck broken, okay? That's the traditional concept for that term. But in this case, he is breaking it down and busting it wide open for a buck. So I'm just reinventing the whole concept of buck broken. That is Deion Sanders. So I don't even think I don't even think the stadium was cleared yesterday. He was already on a jet. He had a conversation with the team, and then he's like on the next flight to Colorado. Damn, it's giving me fatherless generation, childhood abandonment. Like, sorry, son, I got to be out. And so it's so unfortunate. So I would love to get your thoughts. What do you think about Deion Sanders leaving an HBCU in preference? Remember, they said that they don't really hate black people or women. Remember, the key word they use is preference. So in this case, I would say, what do you think? Is Deion Sanders wrong for preferring a PWI over HBCU? Remember, these are just preferences. So I think that's the new ploy. Use HBCUs to get your training, to get your expertise, to build your skills as a head coach. Because let's be honest, Deion Sanders was never going to even get a coordinator position with a PWI. He would have not even been on anybody's staff. He would have never even been hired by any PWI if it had not been for the fact that he was showing, like in so many words, saying, I can build any program. I can go to the most destabilized, most defunct, and most disenfranchised program in the nation, which would be an HBCU, and the most racist state, the most impoverished state, that is Mississippi. And I can build a program there and create a winning program. Wow, Deion Sanders knows how to work well with young black men. Can't have that. Can't build HBCUs. Got to destabilize that program. Got to knock that program out of existence. Don't give a fuck who they're going to pick next year. Plucked him out of a system that he built. So black men are capable of being coaches. Guess what? Black men are good at basketball. Imagine, oh my God, imagine that. Once upon a time, ABA, NBA, it was segregated. At one point, they didn't even want us playing college sports. At one point, they didn't even want us in the damn schools. So we had to convince them that we're good at sports. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Black people had to convince white men that are new to this continent that we're good at soccer, Pele. We had to convince them that we're good at basketball. We had to convince them that, can you imagine, once upon a time, black men had to convince white men that they were good at basketball? They had to convince, now the thing is they're trying to convince white men that they could be really excellent head coaches. Now, Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones, the Buss family, they have made billions. They make billions of dollars annually off of sports, and they don't even know how to throw a basketball. They can't even land a basketball hoop. They can't even get a ball through the hoop. They can't even hit their target if they try to throw a football. But they make a lot of money, and that's capitalism, and that's exploitation of black labor. Capitalism was built off chattel slavery, and I hate to be that historian, but I love being that historian. Yeah, slavery is exactly that. American capitalism is chattel slavery. Chattel slavery is American capitalism. So why are you thinking, oh, I'm going to be a black capitalist? Black people just got to pay capitalism. Someone is going to be exploited along the way. And in this case, it's your sons. So at the same time, the NCAA is not even NCAA, but it's being allowed, because it was always antitrust, to say that the student can't make money off his own name, image, and likeness, which is NIL. They're calling it NIL, which is such a stupid name for it. But name, image, and likeness. Where's that name come from? Your surname, your family name, So now that Black athletes can make money off their own family's name, can't have that. Can't be using your name to build HBCUs. Cannot, nope, we'll pluck you out of the system. So they're also reporting that Deion Sanders is going to take some of his top recruits and some of the other coordinators and assistant coaches with him. Y'all, that's literally what they've been doing to us from day one. That's literally what they've been doing to us since day one. Somebody said they probably don't even know how to turn the lights on in the gym. They don't know nothing. And I work in sports. And so I know people are just like, how's this relevant? This is how they destabilize Black Wall Street. This is how so it used to be, if you were a certain colorism preference, you could just pass out of the Black community and nobody ever knew you was Black and you could go get all the wealth. Well, there's a new way of passing out of the Black community, and that's through classism. It's no longer colorism, it's classism. So if you fit a certain caliber, come on, Deion, you're NFL. What are you doing at an HBCU? Well, y'all won't hire me as a head coach. Y'all won't even hire me as a physical coordinator position or assistant coach. You won't even hire me to be the goddamn water boy. So I'm going to take my talents over to my people. And here we go. Hey, yay, niggas finally figured it out. It only took 54 years in the NFL. Niggas finally figured out they could be head coaches in their own institutions. Okay. All these, just don't even, I know a lot of players personally, so I don't want to say their names, but all these retired NFL players that didn't get re-signed and hired on at their favorite PWI, can you imagine a 53-man roster for decades, y'all? And not one of those players can get hired on as a head coach. Not one. And then one finally decides, I'm going to pick up my talents and I'm going to go to an HBCU. And they're like, oh, we can't fucking have that. It only took them 54 years to figure out that they can go be head coaches at their own institution. But now they're doing it. HBCUs are getting all the love. And they hate that, y'all. They were seething, okay? The NFL, their blood was boiling, y'all. There was so much envy. So then we have Chris Paul, who prefers Kim Kardashian over his Black wife. No TJ Holmes. We have Chris Paul, who is the ambassador, who didn't go to HBCU, but the NBA is installing Chris Paul, okay, to be an ambassador for HBCU college basketball. So they're getting all these things for diversity, equity, inclusion, and all the George Floyd noise that we were making. Okay, niggas, shut the fuck up, because we was getting ready to burn this motherfucker down. Let's be honest. All right, everybody ain't got the decorum of a Lila Brown and the diplomacy, okay, of a Lila Brown, okay? Everybody ain't out there just being civilized. Some of the super predators, beta males, and the revolutionaries, they were not taking it. They were about to burn that motherfucker to the ground. Somebody just pressed go. They was burning down police precincts. They was burning down businesses. They were stopping traffic on the highway. They were not letting up. They said with George Floyd, enough is enough. So corporate America said, hold it there now, and created diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And guess who's benefiting largely from corporate America's investment in diversity, equity, inclusion? Not white women. I know this is the easy guess. Gay white men. Okay? Because sexual orientation is now a diversity qualifier. Yep, that's the way it is. Right. So I would love to get your thoughts. Please comment. Let me know what you think, because there's a lot of mixed reactions. But while I have you here, I have to remind you that Black men profited from both sides of the transatlantic slave trade. Ooh, I had to sneak that one in. Ooh, not only did they sell their own women and children, and even their own brothers as tribal chiefs and kings, sold their own people into the Caribbean, the transatlantic slave trade. Over in the mainland United States, come to find out, more than 3,777 Black men owned slaves in the 1830s. By the 1840s, that number had more than doubled to 6,000. I am not going to let y'all get out of here without pointing out that fact. So, what's the problem here? The problem is that we've all been lumped together across the diaspora. We've all been made to feel like we are supposed to be one. And so you have one group of people that are extremely loyal. The most loyal women out of anyone is the Black woman. She is loyal. She's loyal. She does not want to date outside her race. She fears that her children are going to come out melanin deficient. She doesn't care about all that silky hair y'all talking about. She wants brown babies. That's why women like me and looking towards the future and thinking, if I had a child today, what is this planet going to look like 18 years later? My kind is, y'all, they trying to wipe us the fuck out. They don't want this, okay? Deion Sanders used the HBCU as a stepping stone so he can go get closer to white men. They ain't rocking with us. As somebody that's an insider into the NFL and NBA and pick a sport, all 50 plus Olympic sports, I'm telling you, they don't rock with us. Your favorite Black male athlete prefers white men and white women. Now, somebody brought up Serena Williams. Well, Serena, I wish she would have been with a brother. Her sister was murdered by a Black man. Give her some grace, okay? Calm down. Her sister, she was getting shot at, okay? Trying to practice tennis in Compton, okay, by said Black males. So you might want to just give her a little bit more. Jennifer Hudson's mother, sisters, nephews, the whole family. Jennifer Hudson ain't got no family out of Chicago anymore. They were killed by a beta male super predator, okay? It's getting really dangerous. Black femicide is real. So the hate is real. So on one end, yes, we have a form of entertainment. People are, upset about Deion. But this is a much larger story. This goes into politics. This goes into genocide. This goes into the race massacres. This is so much deeper. We are under attack. And the thing is, we're not fighting back. And the resources that we do build to fight back ends up aiding the other side. So I'm going to explain to you, with all this ingenuity, why the fuck we don't have shit in this country, okay? Once upon a time, some colonizers came in. And the men in our tribes, the indigenous tribes of the Americas, said, fuck this matriarch and this system. I want to go side with the colonizers. Now, the colonizers at this time were also Black men, okay? So for a while, there was a lot of mixing in Mississippi. There was a lot of race mixing between the French Blackamoors and the indigenous groups, and it was all good. And then here comes this other group, what I like to call the hybrids, the melanin deficient, okay? As soon as they got their first chance, they were out. They were out. So we couldn't even maintain indigenous European relations. It is something about the albinites. It is something about the Homo Neanderthals that they are just, they lose their shit. There's no race loyalty. So I think at some point, first and foremost, HBCUs, Jackson State, what the fuck? Maybe you didn't have the money to do a multi-year deal, but y'all have got to start doing some multi-year deals. You got to put these motherfuckers on contracts. I would be surprised. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if somebody told me that Deion Sanders wasn't even really on contract. This was a verbal agreement. It's a handshake deal. I would not be surprised. So contract negotiations, I think Jackson State can learn a little bit more there. But at the same time, we need to wake up. We truly need to wake up. What's up? We truly need to wake up and realize that we're just a pawn. We are talking points right now in Hollywood. Right now in Hollywood. They are using our plight, genocide. They're using massacres. They're using our trauma so they can go build another movie like Emancipation. Ain't nobody fucking with Will Smith. Nobody, I mean, I was. Protect Black women. But when nobody fucking with, but what got him back on? They canceled all his movies. But the one about slavery, oh brother, you can get a pass there. We don't rock with you. We have blackballed you from the industry. You've been ostracized. You have been crossed out of Hollywood. But that slave movie can get through. That slave movie, we'll let you slide on that one. You see what we're doing here? Wakanda forever. Wakanda's in Kansas, y'all. Wakanda's connected to the Caddo Sioux Nation of Louisiana, Caddo Parish, okay? The Black Panther Clan is a Louisiana tribe, okay? So that Wakanda, Sioux, Wakanda means great spirit. To the American Indians, great spirit is everything. That is our God, okay? That is our deity. So Wakanda, being in Kansas, Wakanda Springs, Kansas, okay? Connected to the Caddo Sioux Nation, Caddo. That's a parish in Louisiana. The Black Panther is exactly tied to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and all the tribes of that area. The Black Panther is actually a fucking jaguar, and it is native to the Americas. So all this romanticization of Africa, I'm like, at every end, we're under attack. You got a whole movie about the Black Panther and the symbolism thereof with CIA-friendly undertones. The CIA destabilized. COINTELPRO ruined the Black Panther Party. Lest we forget the chairman, Fred Hampton. But so Ryan Coogler is a part of this. Our brothers have been compromised, and I think it's just so silly to ever expect loyalty from the Black male community. I think we will be duped every time. I think we will be hoodwinked and bamboozled every time. Somebody said, I wouldn't be surprised if he was offered a contract and turned it down. He had a plan from the beginning. You think he had a plan? Ooh, Caddo Parish is Shreveport. Okay, thank you for that information. That's the Black Panther clan. The Jaguar, I know I'll be all over the place, y'all, but y'all got this shit is all interconnected. It's like this. It's like a figure 8, okay? It's all, I'm gonna be here, we're gonna be there, we're gonna bring it all back to that center, okay? So somebody, you think Deion Sanders was plotting this from the beginning? I think so too. I'm starting to think that. I think, this is still new, but I'm kind of thinking back like, oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that point, Jasmine Young. I think that was the plot. I think Deion Sanders knew that he was never going to get on at a PWI. He was never going to be offered any. I don't even think they was going to let that motherfucker be a water boy or do locker room cleanup. He couldn't even get a job doing anything at any PWI. He couldn't get on at Arizona. He couldn't get on at USC. Both USCs wasn't going to have it. He couldn't get on the university. He would never get on at the University of Mississippi. He was never going to get on at the University of Georgia. He was never going to get on at Florida. He was never going to get on at Tennessee. So he finally figured, well, you know what? I'm going to take my talents. And it's something about as we're starting to rebuild, as we, damn, like, I just, I'll show you guys this. I'll see if I can. I'm trying to show you guys a little bit here. I have this beautiful poster here of Black Wall Street that I wanted to show. And this is kind of like my reminder that once upon a time we were capable of amazing. So this is kind of like in my home. I wake up, I kind of study it, I meditate with it for a while. And that's exactly what happened, what's going on with Deion Sanders. I'm sorry if you don't see the connection just yet. This might take a little bit more critical thinking. This might take a little bit more meditation, but I'm reminded of, you probably call them the Boule today. You would probably call them the Illuminati today to, drum up fear. So, yeah. I just wanted to point that out, that once upon a time, we did have our own networks and we did have our own system. But whenever we are starting to rebuild and, come to a point where we can take care of ourselves, there's a larger campaign at play, and it's subterfuge. It's covert, okay? These are strategies. These are war tactics, all right? This is an implementation of. So I'm not sure why the men can't figure this out, but then I dig back into history because I love history, and it reminds me of King Massinissa, who betrayed Hannibal of Carthage. Hannibal of Carthage, who won every military campaign he was a part of. This is fucking war. People are being killed. People are being decimated. People are being murdered. Okay, so excuse me while I'm putting some historical context to this. Please share the video. Please share the video and invite your friends in. So going back to Hannibal of Carthage, it was a long-standing compact that Black men created that they would never bring harm to white people. They would never attack a white man without his permission for war. That is a compact that is standing since Hannibal Carthage in the Second Punic War. And all of a sudden, Hannibal Carthage is no longer this military excellence. He's no longer winning wars. He's no longer the fiercest military commander in all the region. He was betrayed by his own brother. Someone from his own ranks broke away. So that's where the destabilization of the entire Black community, where these Neanderthals have been allowed to just rise up. So the betrayal comes from within. So I think it is, at this point, it is silly for us to expect loyalty. I think it is just delusional. I think we're going to continue to be duped. I think we're going to continue to be led astray anytime that we think that we have a friend, okay, in this Black man. And that's just how they are. And I think we still keep holding out hope. I think we still keep hope alive that we have a friend in this said Black man, this so-called Black man. To me, he is lack. That's the epitome of a man who lacks. He lacks the sense of loyalty. And so they don't really care. You know, Michael Jackson's song, it's so fucking powerful. They really don't care about us. Nobody cares about us. But when they get that money, they act like they do. They act like they care about us. But as soon as they get on, they leave us for some white entity, some white institution, for a white girl, what have you. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to realize it's because we're not all from the same tribe. I think that's what it really, I'm starting to understand, that we're not from the same tribe. I think we think because we're all melanated that we all have the same, because we all experience some form of racism and terrorism from colonization and American capitalism exploiting our labor. I think we think that that's a unifying factor. And I'm starting to realize that melanin is not a unifying factor. I'm starting to realize the plight of the said Negro is not enough to really sustain us. So listen to what people on your timeline are saying in cases, in serious situations like this. This is a very serious matter. This is not just some child's play. This is very, very serious. So listen to what people are saying. If people are like, this is okay, you should be able to do any of this as long as you're making money. Yeah, you should be able to sell your daughters into sex trafficking, Boko Haram, because you're making money. Those type of people you kind of want to watch out for. You might want to, that would be my message and warning to a lot of you all. Okay, so yeah, so if you want to be a guest, if anybody wants to come in and be a guest, they want to chime in, I appreciate your comments. You guys have been awesome. I think the Black community is really struggling with this right now, but pay attention, okay? Pay attention to some of the perspectives and some of the commentary and opinions. If it's someone that's out there saying, oh, he's making money, it's totally fine, start to remember that that kind of mentality is coming from a long line of people that sold their own children into slavery for money, sometimes for trinkets. They would sell these people into slavery, not because they needed the US dollar. Because think about it. I don't know if anyone saw The Woman King with Viola Davis. He sold a portion of a neighboring village or tribe for a fucking poncho. He sold, because he has food, he has gold, he has everything he needs, this Doheny King. They gave them umbrellas, y'all, cute little Andalusian umbrellas and ponchos. They sold people into slavery, not for food, because they had more than enough food. Not for gold, they had the gold. Not for diamonds, they had the diamonds. Not for the precious metals and gemstones, they had all that. They sold their own son. King Gezu's brother sold his own mother. Y'all, Black men. Ain't no other fucking race on this planet, ain't no other fucking demographic, ain't no other group on this planet can say that they sold their own mothers into the Holocaust You don't hear the Jew saying such and such sold his own mother into the Holocaust. You don't hear that for a poncho, for trinkets, for little to nothing. That's why a lot of people were upset about the movie Woman King. The Woman is King. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I want everybody to remember that. At the end of the day, he's just not our friend. We have no allies. So to expect loyalty from Black men, it's kind of hurting us in a way. It's kind of like, it really is. It's really like tricking us, and we are now set back because of it. It destabilizes us, and it disenfranchises us, and it removes political power, influence. It removes money from our communities when they do things like this. So this is going to take a lot more conversation. I just wanted to put my 2 cents out there because unfortunately, that's what's happening. We've always been sold out. There's nobody that can come up and just say you're a slave and then boom, you're a slave, and there's a whole institution that propagates and ensures that you are forever a slave without someone from that said community participating in the betrayal. So I think once we kind of wake up and realize that we're not connected, we're just simply not connected as a people. So to ask us and expect us to be loyal based on skin color instead of mindset, instead of like-mindedness, I think it's hurting us. I think, and I think this is another one of those times where you can, I love this time where I just start blocking people. If you think it's okay for Deion Sanders to do what he did because it's all about the money at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, those are the descendants of men whose forefathers sold his own mother and sons into the transatlantic slave trade. And unfortunately, that's the reality of that. So I thank you so much for listening. I had to go in the historical context because it's the same thing. These men have been selling us into slavery. They've been selling us out for a very long time. That word that we use, no other group of people use that word, those terms, selling out. That's where we get it from. They literally sold their own daughters into sex trafficking. So that's where that whole pimp culture comes from. That whole prostitution, pimps and hoes culture comes from. It was a lot of men selling their daughters into slavery, selling their daughters into sex trafficking, into human trafficking. What Deion Sanders did, you may not see it right now. It may take a little bit more careful meditation. And I'm going to be sure that I put this video up on my YouTube as well. But I just hope you all understand that this, I call it a tragedy in which Deion has sold out an entire university system, an entire educational institution. It's uncalled for, and it's inappropriate, and it's disrespectful, and it's hurtful. And so we have to kind of understand that it's like history repeating itself. It's history is showing us until we get the message, until we get the lesson. We're going to keep lessening our blessings until we get the message, okay? They have always sold us out. So this extreme loyalty that we have to this community, you just might want to watch yourself. You might just want to be a little bit more conscious. Be aware of what's happening. And it really is sad because I know HBCUs were really excited about Coach. Someone said, I saw a post speaking to generational wealth, but his kids will not see a dime of that money. Oh, what do you mean? Why wouldn't his kids see his money? Uh-oh. Well, unfortunately, marriage is tied to an estate. It is tied to wealth. And so the blending of families, we see what's going on with Kanye. Should he ever get his paper back up, he's got to pay $200,000 a month for child support. That is going to a white woman who is not native to this continent, or Armenian. Oh my God, this is just so deep. Armenian, y'all, Asiatic, okay? Those people, if Kim Kardashian came out today and said, I am Cherokee, y'all would believe it. If Kim Kardashian came out right now and said, I'm Apache, you all would believe it. These, what I call hybrids, these white skins with black hair, y'all, they've been hijacking our culture for a very long time. So it is not easy to sustain generational anything. Wealth, it's not easy to establish a legacy with people who are going to constantly use us as a stepping stone to build a foundation, to build a fan base. And as soon as they show some stability, soon as they show some expertise and skill, they're then plucked out of that community, leaving this community just destitute and isolated and disenfranchised. Money's no longer flowing in. That's exactly what they wanted. And they wanted that to be a lesson to this all. This is all about a message to us all. Let that be a lesson to us all, that we do not have a friend in the black man. And what a wake up call. It's just such a beautiful reminder that I'm not wrong on this. You can be upset with me. You can say I'm a divester, but he divested away from an entire university system. He divested from an entire educational program that has sports as a side attraction, because we all know at HBCU games, it's all about the band, it's all about the fashion, and the sports is fun, but it ain't all of who we are. And so he just proved that. But to the NFL and to NCAA college football, this is business as usual. That wasn't hard. He's not even probably one of the top paid head coaches in college sports. He's probably not even one of the top paid, but they don't care. This is a business ploy. We do not, the NFL cannot afford for us to build HBCUs, because should we build college programs, that creates a whole other professional football system. Once we get HBCU sports going up and running, this is an opportunity for us to create for whatever sport a professional league, and that they cannot have. So that's why the NFL had to get involved. That's why the NFL, I can feel and see, and I'm very familiar with the NFL headquarters. I'm familiar with several teams' front office, and I know how they think. I know exactly how they think. This is all the work of the NFL. You cannot have the building of HBCUs, because if you have HBCUs, which are excluded for the most part from Division I, NCAA. So because HBCUs are excluded, then they're eventually, if they keep building, they keep empowering themselves, they keep building wealth, they keep building an economy from their college sports programs. From those college sports, then it will become another Negro leagues, more professional leagues, and they can't have that. Even Ice Cube with his big three, he has put limitations on his own program, so he doesn't compete with the NBA. The only reason we are even allowed to have an Ice Cube's big three is because he put concessions and other stipulations within his league that will not compete with the NBA. That's why they had to destabilize the Negro leagues in the same exact way. The same way that they are destabilizing, disenfranchising, and removing wealth from Jackson State and opportunities, influence, and power from that sports program. They did the same thing. I can't believe I'm just now getting to the Negro leagues, but they did the same thing to the Negro leagues, unfortunately. Now, the Negro leagues could go tit for tat, toe to toe with Major League Baseball. In fact, some people even said the Negro leagues was better than Major League Baseball. So I guess we're supposed to be the minor and they're the majors. Again, that's the conditioning. White supremacy is a whole, or even the myths of white supremacy, it's a programming. We say things like the majors, the majority. They're not the fucking majority. This is the majority of colonizers. These people, these the Slavics we're dealing with. We're dealing with Austrians. We're dealing with Germans. We're dealing with the English. We're dealing with the Scottish. We're dealing with albino Irish. We're dealing with white Hispanics. We're dealing with Middle Eastern. We're dealing with Pakistani. We're dealing with Iranians. We're dealing with so many. So they come over here and they create this super white group. But they're really just all different segments of variations of white. So they come over here and they call themselves the majors. And then here we have the Negro Leagues, which is set up in the same exact format. Even more entertainment. You got black families coming to the games. You have black beauty pageants as part of the halftime. You got single black women connecting with single black men at the social aspect of the Negro Leagues, and they couldn't have that. So from 1920s throughout the 1940s, all the way to the 1960s, the Negro Leagues was doing its thing. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want us in sports. Remember, they didn't want us in sports. Now, less than 5% of MLB, even that's probably too large of a number, probably even less than that, 5% of Major League Baseball is black. And then you have Dominicans coming in. You got people from South America saying, I'm not black. I'm Dominican. I'm not black. I'm Venezuelan. That was part of the destabilizing. So these are strategic. But what is our counter? We're constantly being attacked. We're constantly being hit. Bombs dropped on us. Subterfuge. COINTELPRO. Plucking members out of our community. Killing off leaders. And what is our counter? Do we even have a counter? What is our counter for what's just happened here? Years, decades, centuries of attacks, warfare, massacres. What is our attack? Go get like them, go get money? That is not a proper defense. So y'all will come to find out that our people from within our own community have played a major part. But you know what? Because Deion Sanders is a man, because he's black, he's a celebrity, he's a black man, he will be coddled. He will be coddled. He will be forgiven. He didn't even ask for an apology, and he'll be forgiven. People will see his perspective. People will argue for his case, and that has always been the case. Somebody is always, and that's why I'm so much more happier to tap into my indigenous roots and learn more about what happened, what truly happened to the Cherokee, what truly happened to my ancestors on the Trail of Tears. And that's why I'm more interested in telling their story. And I'm starting to realize that, y'all, we dealing with a lot of black people that don't see skin color as a unifier. They don't see melanin. They don't see our plight as a unifier. They see white men as their fathers, as their zaddies, as their brothers. Okay? They're not trying to tackle and knock out Jerry Jones. They just want to get close to Jerry Jones. They don't actually want power. They want to be close to power. They don't actually want the responsibility of managing, ruling, governing a nation. And so I don't know what the fuck it is, but in the words of Cynthia G, it's degeneracy. This is just a black male pathology. This is what it is. So while we are thinking, yeah, we want men that are powerful, we want men that are influential, we want men that are leaders, he has no desire to be a leader. He used the black community to be a head coach, and guess what? How long y'all think Deion's gonna be at Colorado? Like, honestly, how long do you think Deion Sanders is gonna be there? Now that we've plucked you out of the HBCU, he'll probably last one season. Deion can go to HBCU, have undefeated season. The minute he has a losing season at Colorado, he's done, and then back to business as usual. Install another white coach at Colorado. This HBCU is struggling, and who would have Deion at that point after he shows that he can't display any sense of loyalty? Who would want to rock with him after that? You wish you could join right now? Oh, what's going on? Okay. Not sure why you can't, but you should be able to. Okay. But I appreciate your comments either way. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Colorado will have a contract. Yeah. That would be my next question. So whether you're watching this live or you're watching this later, how long do you think Deion will be at Colorado? Now that he's been plucked out of the HBCU system, and now he's going to go back and be one of thousands of white head coaches, you think they're going to welcome him into the coaching leagues? They're so happy, y'all. They are celebrating right now. They have snatched an influential figure, somebody that was bringing money to HBCU. They plucked him out of the Black community. All those dollars, all the ticket sales, all the excitement, all the buzz, all the publicity, all the hype, all the prime time, all the exposure, all the showcasing of talent, all that has been removed within a matter of minutes, within a matter of days. This story probably broke sometime maybe mid last week, maybe on Friday. By the time he played the SWAC title game, won that championship, by the time he did that, before the lights was even off in the stadium, before they even cleaned the stadium, he was on a jet to Colorado. And that white community is celebrating. This is war. And so all these little tokens are being used for a larger campaign to say that you can't maintain yourself. And even when you do pick yourself up, they can send a white woman after you. That's over with. TJ Holmes ruined his marriage for a white woman. That's already twice divorced. White men know at any moment they can throw a few dollars at you, which is really crumbs. I want y'all to compare what Deion, we're going to do this. Compare what Deion is earning as a salary at Colorado compared to what all the other head coaches are making. But, you know, I have to remind myself, these people have white Jewish agents. Like, oh, I forgot we can't say the Jew word. Yeah, fucking right. I'm just fucking free country. I keep forgetting all of these black male athletes all have Jewish agents. And the moment they see you building your own people, your own nation, you're building the community of descendants of slaves, once they see that you're starting to really do well for yourself, they're going to create some type of subterfuge. They're going to create some point of attack so they can snatch you out of the community, install you over there, then dilute you, and then get rid of you in both, you know, and then so, no, it's so strategic. This takes so much critical thinking. And sometimes I'm reminded, oh, we're dealing with dumb jocks here. I'm like, I got to remember, it's like, they're not very bright. They're not extremely wise and intelligent. These are dumb jocks, and most of them are probably concussed at this point. So I got to keep reminding myself, like, we're not dealing with the most intelligent people and members of our community, unfortunately. So that's what it is. That's pretty much all I have to say. I just want to put that out there because I think it's disgusting. I think Deion Sanders is a fine representation of black male pathology and how they just simply cannot show loyalty to our people. They simply cannot show loyalty to our communities, our nations, our tribes, our village. They cannot show loyalty. It's not in them. This is something that's deep within me, and this is something that's not inherent to him. He's just not going to be able to comprehend it. And all the people that agree with Deion, that are on his side, pay attention to these people. Please pay attention to them. And remove these type of people from your friends list, because I'm telling you, they will sell their own children into slavery. And it's not far-fetched because they have. Okay? If you dig a little bit closer into history, you'll come to find out black men used to, in terms of joining the patriarch and to get some social status in the patriarch, they would sell their own sons into slavery to settle debts, they would sell their own daughters into slavery. Did you know that, you know, the descendants of the black men that I'm talking about are in the same vein as the Deion Sanders? Do you know that they would use plantations like they were whorehouses, and they would go and buy women because they needed a submissive wife? So they would go and buy black women to be, this is black men. This is what black men did. Black men would go use plantations as whorehouses. And then should they fall in love with a stripper or, you know, along that vein, they would then purchase her for the equivalency of $25,000 in 1830. Think about that. 1776, slavery started to be implemented in the United States throughout the 1780s and the 1790s. And here comes wealthy black men, the Deion Sanders of its day, that would use plantations to find their brides. And that black man started to get wise. because after he would purchase said black woman from the plantation, if she would not submit, you know how Kevin Sanders said, submit. If she would not submit, if the wife proved to be unruly, he would sell her back into slavery, most time making a profit. So it was an investment. Black men were investors into slavery. So when we start to come together as a people, like, oh, let's all stick together, you know, all skin folk and kin folk, and what's going on? Why is there so much betrayal? We have got to stop assuming that we're all in this together, because we're simply not. And I'm just really sick of seeing the black community duped all the time. I'm really extremely sick of seeing this entire nation of people, because we are, in this way, we are black. Black means you've been disenfranchised. Black denotes genocide. Black denotes destabilization. Black denotes the fact that communities have been removed and displaced, and you have no civil rights. So when we're calling ourselves black, what we're saying is we don't have any civil rights. And that, to an extent, would be true. But I would love to get anybody else to tune in. What's your thoughts? What's your immediate reaction to the news coming from Deion Sanders? And I appreciate you. And to those that gave stars, that's so nice. Thank you so much. And for hearts, and for those that shared the video, would love to get your 2 cents on this. And I think this is a larger play. And I think this was a setup. I think this is something that they've been working on from the get-go. Put Deion over at an HBCU. Let him show that black men are capable of being head coaches, because the rumor and the understanding in the NFL is that black men are not smart enough. That's their idea. That's what they think. That black men are too feeble-minded to be quarterbacks. Black men are too feeble-minded to be head coaches. So that's why they weren't getting hired. I don't have the power to hire or fire. So those that do, like the Jerry Joneses of the world, the running narrative behind the scenes in sports is that black men are not smart enough to play the quarterback position. Black men are not smart enough to be head coaches. So they definitely ain't wealthy nor smart enough in this same narrative to be team owners. And that's why they're not. So Deion and his team configured a strategy in which he would prove, I can win. I can be a head coach. And let me show you. I'm just going to use this HBCU as a tool. I'm just going to tap in. I could have did this a decade ago. I could have done this right after going straight out of the Hall of Fame during his years in retirement. Deion could have coached at an HBCU years ago. But now that he's ready to be a coach to, white institutions, he needed a plan. And this was it clearly was an effective plan. Show that you have the capabilities and you have the knowledge to be a head coach by using an HBCU as an example. So this is an example for everyone, that we are just to be easily sold out. Anybody can come in and offer a buck, and we'll leave an entire system. We'll leave an entire support team, something that is a community base. Black men will leave that in a fucking heartbeat. I mean, as soon as we heard the news, Deion was already on the jet to Colorado. So it's hurtful, it's harmful, it's destructive. That was the point. These are all campaigns to destabilize our communities, to disenfranchise our communities, to remove any form of wealth and power from our communities. That's what it's all about. So I hope we are all starting to wake up and to see that these are strategic warfare tactics. This is a form of terrorism. And so I'm not sure if people are really well aware of what's happening in terms of geopolitics with Russia and Ukraine, with rebel forces in parts of Africa, the Middle East, but it's the same thing. The United States does this to other nations. The United Nations tries to come in and portray itself as a peacekeeper, but all the side deals are happening under the table at the same time. These are strategies. So here we are just trying to do things, to take care of ourselves, to take care of one another. We circulate money within. We are they said the black community in the United States is the most philanthropic. community of all time. That's why our Divine Nines, the Boulay, 100 Black Men, the core Brotherhood Crusades, the core of what they're doing is about using our resources to help one another. And so when they see that, and part of what they're doing, they do this in the Middle East, but we just don't recognize it here because capitalism and entertainment and we're being exploited. Then the world comes over, Africans come over and be like, oh, Black people, you're tripping. Nobody's trying to kill you. See, Black men love me. I'm African. The people come over from the Caribbean. Oh, Black Americans, what are you talking about? You're crazy. No one's trying to kill you. And all the while, it's nothing but colonizers versus indigenous. This conversation is so much deeper. So that's why I was asking everyone to tune in, comment, let me know what you think. I really do appreciate your insight and perspective. There's no right or wrong answers because there's a lot of mixed feelings and emotions that are happening with this. But take it from somebody that listens behind the scenes to what they're saying about us in the world of sports. Y'all, this is war. This is war, and we never seem to really have a counter. What is our counter? We really never seem to have a proper response as opposed to just online opinions and commentary. But other than that, I hope that should another prominent NFL player decides that he wants to use a HBCU as a stepping stone to build a foundation to prove that he has the knowledge and skills and expertise to be a head coach, I hope they can at least hold him and have a stronger contract. I would not be surprised if this was just a handshake, verbal agreement, a handshake deal in which Deion said, I'll come in for a few years, I'll build the program, but my goal is white universities and institutions. My goal is to be prominent amongst white men and to get my name out there so white men can pay attention to me and offer me more money. I would not be surprised. So unfortunately, HBCUs fell for the okie doke in this case. The universities that were created by free people that were emancipated after the Civil War and slavery had ended. Unfortunately, to the descendants of those freedmen that built HBCUs in places such as Mississippi and Louisiana, unfortunately, Black men are not even really going to college. The statistics prove that they're not even really interested in college. And when they are, it's usually only for sports. If it wasn't for sports, Black men would not be at college at all. HBCUs or PWI, either way. But Black men help schools like Alabama, who didn't even want Black men to go to the university, makes them millions and billions of dollars annually, monthly, per game. So once again, that's American capitalism. Hopefully I can find some better allies. And if I hear anybody in my social circle, anybody in my friends list talking about Deion and what this is okay and the destabilization of an HBCU and our educational institutions, anybody that's okay with that, you got to go. Block. You don't deserve to be on my friends list, and you don't deserve to be in the vicinity of me giving these messages, because at the same time, I truly believe that all they do is take this information over and conspire with those that seek to commit acts of terrorism and genocide against my people. We're still under war, and we're still under attack, and COINTELPRO to me seems to be alive and well. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Shame on you, Deion Sanders. You're fucking disgusting. Bye.